Are you absolutely sure your English is as good as you think it is? Over 90% of people will fail the last 10 questions of this tricky error spotting quiz. Let's see if you have what it takes to beat the average. 1. Identify the error. She don't like eating apples in the morning. The subject she is third person singular, so the auxiliary verb must be doesn't, does not instead of don't, do not. 2. Identify the error. He is an honest man who always tells the truth. The word honest begins with a vowel sound. The H is silent, therefore, the indefinite article and must be used instead of a. 3. Identify the error. There is many people waiting in line for the concert. The true subject of the sentence is many people, which is plural. Therefore, the verb must also be plural. It should be there are instead of there is. 4. Identify the error. I have went to the grocery store yesterday. The word yesterday indicates a completed action in the simple past. The correct verb form is simply went. Using the present perfect have went is grammatically incorrect. The past participle of go is gone, but simple past is needed here. 5. Identify the error. It's going to be a beautiful day today. It's without an apostrophe is a possessive pronoun. The sentence requires the contraction for it is, which is written as it's. 6. Identify the error. Did you went to the party last night? When using the auxiliary verb did to form a question in the simple past tense, the main verb must remain in its base form. It should be did you go, not did you went. 7. Identify the error. Me and my brother went to the park. The pronouns functioning as the subject of the sentence must be in the subjective case. Me is an objective pronoun. The correct phrasing is my brother and I or he and I. 8. Identify the error. The dog wagged its tail happily. It's with an apostrophe is a contraction for it is or it has. To show possession, you must use the possessive pronoun it's without an apostrophe. 9. Identify the error. She runs very fastly to catch the bus. The word fast is both an adjective and an adverb. The word fastly does not exist in standard English. The correct phrase is very fast. 10. Identify the error. We was very happy to see our grandparents. The pronoun we is plural and requires a plural verb. The correct past tense to be verb for we is were, not was. 11. Identify the error. Despite of the heavy rain, we went for a walk. The preposition despite means the same thing as in spite of, but despite never takes the preposition of. The correct phrase is simply despite the heavy rain. 12. Identify the error. If I was you, I would accept the job offer. This is a second conditional sentence expressing a hypothetical situation. In formal English, the subjunctive mood is used, which requires were for all subjects. It should be if I were you. 13. Identify the error. Every one of the students have passed the final exam. The subject of the sentence is everyone, which is a singular pronoun. The phrase of the students is a prepositional phrase modifying the subject, therefore. The verb must be singular, has past. 14. Identify the error. I am looking forward to meet you next week. In the phrase look forward to, the word to acts as a preposition, not part of an infinitive verb. Prepositions must be followed by a noun or a gerund verb plusing. It should be meeting you. 15. Identify the error. She's married with a doctor from the local hospital. In English, you are married to someone, not married with someone. The correct phrase is married to. 16. Identify the error. The new furniture in the living room are very comfortable. The word furniture is an uncountable mass noun in English. Therefore, it always takes a singular verb. The correct verb is, not are. 17. Identify the error. He suggested to go to the beach for the weekend. The verb suggest cannot be followed directly by an infinitive with to. It must be followed by a gerund suggested go in or that clause suggested that we go. 18. Identify the error. Neither of the two candidates are suitable for the position. The pronoun neither is grammatically singular, meaning not one or the other. Therefore, it should be followed by a singular verb in standard formal English. The correct verb is. 19. Identify the error. I am used to wake up early in the morning. The phrase be used to means to be accustomed to something. The to here is a preposition, which must be followed by a noun or gerund. It should be used to waking up. 20. Identify the error. She enjoys to read mystery novels on Sundays. The verb enjoy must be followed by a gerund verb plusing when describing an action, never an infinitive. The correct phrase is enjoys reading. 21. Identify the error. Not only she is intelligent, but she is also hardworking. When a sentence begins with a negative adverbial phrase like not only, it triggers subject-verb inversion. The auxiliary verb must come before the subject. It should be not only is she intelligent. 22. Identify the error. The manager demanded that the employee apologizes immediately. Verbs like demand, insist, and require trigger the subjunctive mood in the following net clause. The verb in the subjunctive clause must be in its base form, regardless of the subject. It should be apologize. 23. Identify the error. Scarcely had he entered the room than it started to rain. The adverb scarcely is paired with the conjunction when to indicate that one event happened almost immediately after another. Using then is incorrect. Then pairs with no sooner. It should be when it started. 24. Identify the error. The number of applicants for the scholarship are increasing. The phrase the number of acts as a singular subject, referring to the specific total count. Therefore, it takes a singular verb. It should be is increasing. Note, a number of takes a plural verb. 25. Identify the error. Whom do you think will win the championship this year? The pronoun is the subject of the verb will win. Do you think is an inserted clause? Since it acts as the subject, the subjective case whom must be used, not the objective case whom. 26. Identify the error. I strongly object to you leaving the project unfinished. When a pronoun precedes a gerund leaving, formal English grammar requires the pronoun to be in the possessive case. It should be you're leaving because you are objecting to the action of leaving, which belongs to you. 27. Identify the error. He is one of the men who does the work efficiently. The relative pronoun who refers to the immediately preceding plural noun men, not one. Since who is plural in this context, the following verb must also be plural. It should be who do. 28. Identify the error. It is high time the government takes action on pollution. The phrase "it is high time" followed by a subject requires the verb to be in the past tense to express that an action should have already been done. It should be took action. 29. Identify the error. Had I known about the traffic, I would have not taken this route. In a third conditional sentence, when negating the result clause would have plus past participle, the word not must be placed immediately after the first auxiliary verb. It should be would not have taken. 30. Identify the error. By this time next year, she will complete her degree. The phrase "by this time next year" creates a deadline in the future. This requires the future perfect tense to show an action will be finished before that point. It should be will have completed.